Welcome back to OutKick 360. I'm Haley Carania, your host for the first annual Chutton Awards, the most important award show in all of sports. Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow, who just pulled off one hell of a costume change, I must say, will be naming the winners and losers of 2022 in the following 6 categories: the Michael Jordan Alpha Award, the Quiet Quitting Award, the Best Rant Award, the Keith Olberman Beta Award, the Mike Leach Most Interesting Person of the Year Award, and finally, the OutKick Person of the Year Award. Each category will have 3 finalists, but there can only be one winner, so let's get started. We're kicking off the Chuttons with Category 1, the Michael Jordan Alpha Award. Obviously, he is the GOAT. He is the pinnacle, dominates his competition. Everyone fears him, but at the same time, everybody wants to be him. And this award goes to the biggest alpha of the year. The finalists in this category are the Commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, Greg Sankey, Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge, LSU gymnast and NIL mogul Livy Dunn. Guys, what do you think?
First off, the Chuttons are already off to an amazing start.
Terrific start.
And a great start by Haley on these finalists, our nominees for the Michael Jordan Alpha of the Year, rightly named. Look, Greg Sankey.
By the way, we're going Golden Globe style here, so there are drinks on the
Ricky Gervais as well.
Yes.
I look forward to being insulted. The most powerful person in college sports.
I'm going to make Hutton cry during these awards today.
The most powerful person in college sports is Greg Sankey.
Yep.
And he comes about it with a very measured, for the most part, balanced and neutral approach in his delivery. He's always scheming behind the scenes, though. I love him as an alpha finalist for 2022.
Yeah, he's in one of those guys that everyone that talks about him just has nothing but great things to say about his intelligence. It's a crowded field for the Alpha Award this year. Aaron Judge made the alpha play with getting paid and also staying a Yankee, and of course with the season he had.
$360 million.
So that's a good one. Livy Dunn almost created her own avenue in terms of NIL and the amount of money she's making as a gymnast at LSU. And I'm not sure who I think is going to win this or who should win it, but it's some great nominees this year.
No doubt. And Haley, who wins in 2022?
Well, the winner of the MJ Alpha Award this year is Livy Dunn.
Yes. I've got no issue with that. I love it. Whatever committee is voting on the winners of this award just did a fabulous job. Livy Dunn is an impressive person in the business sense of what she's been able to create.
Well, and she's ridiculed for being in the NIL field, but it's a problem for equal rights. But you had 4 of the top 7 female earners of the 2021 fiscal year in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit model edition of the magazine, and they were empowering. She's doing the exact same thing, and she's getting paid through name, image, likeness. Livy Dunn.
I'd like to also have the solo camera on me right now. I'd like to take this moment to announce that Livy Dunn wanted to be here to accept this award, but unfortunately she couldn't make it. She just said she had better things to do, but she said if we make it to a second edition of the Chuttons and she wins any award, she will be here on site to accept that award. Thank you very much. We go back to Haley Carania for our next award.
Well, we're looking forward to that next year. But the next award is the Quiet Quitting Award. And each year, new trendy terms are added to the Urban Dictionary, if you will, and quiet quitting has quickly replaced work from home in the latest office slang. It's when you don't have the balls to actually put in your 2 weeks, but you stop doing the work anyway. In other words, you choose to suck at your job. So this year's finalists are former Nebraska head coach Scott Frost, former president of the NCAA, Mark Emmert, and finally, Brooklyn Nets guard Ben Simmons.
Scott Frost, what a total collapse. What a total collapse. And here's why it's quiet quitting, Chad, for him. Love the nominee. Because he had friends and his staff fired. He agreed to this in order to come back, only to be fired at his alma mater, at his school, literally weeks into the season, just prior to his buyout going down. That is the definition of quiet quitting.
The opposite of quiet quitting is me wearing this tuxedo T-shirt for every show from here on out. I think that I just found my style. This is just going to be my thing. I'm always in a tuxedo T-shirt of different colors from here on out. I love it. I think it's Mark Emmert. He took down an entire institution and then just sort of threw his hands up and said, you know what we want to do? Let's let Congress figure it out. That's always a good way to do it. We're not going to take any leadership or accountability.
Zero.
We're going to let the government figure it out. My vote is for Mark Emmert.
Based on the different categories we have in this, Emmert would qualify for a handful of these awards. Ben Simmons, by the way, not a quiet quitter, just a quitter.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm with you on Emmert, and that's where my vote would go. Haley, I'm eager to find out who's winning this award.
For the record, I do feel underdressed sitting next to you guys, but the winner of the Quiet Quitter Award, essentially the laziest person of 2022, is Mark Emmert. You guys are right on the money there.
Look at that. 2 for 2 on the winners with Mark Emmert. I think that was an easy one, Hutton, given the collapse of the NCAA and his sitting by and doing absolutely nothing about it.
And on top of that, the Kansas City Jayhawks was also his last impression.
Tough. That was a tough moment.
Yeah. Congratulations or no. Not congratulations on the career of Mark Emmert as the president of or former president now of the NCAA.
We go back to Haley Karania with our next award.
The next one is the Best Rant Award. This one's pretty self-explanatory. The finalists may or may not be athletes, but they sure do know how to run their mouths. And the finalists are New York radio legend Mike Francesa, fired head coach of the Denver Broncos Nathaniel Hackett, and finally, Colts owner Jim Irsay. Francesa has been nominated for this rant on Bob Costas' constant yammering. Let's take a listen.
Beta got a home run. So you got 3 home runs. You use the power. Costas, who will not be quiet no matter what. Listen, Costas has just, I don't know, he thinks that I guess every word is golden because he just will not shut up. Everything's a history lesson. And we don't need a history lesson every 2 seconds. Okay? Everybody's a Yankee fan. They have Yankee history. They understand Yankee history. They know it backwards and forwards. This is not a history class. It's a baseball game. Be quiet. Do the game. He's driving everybody crazy. He must have said 1,000 times, the Yankee home runs. We know the Yankees have doubled their home runs this year. We know the Indians hit 127 homers and the Yankees hit 254. We know that. Everybody knows it. Make the point once, not 4,000 times.
Yikes. Well, despite being gifted Russell Wilson, Nathaniel Hackett makes the list for this rant that didn't age very well. Roll it.
What a disaster.
Come on, y'all. Russell Wilson. Holy. Very exciting. I look at it as, somebody asked me when we were at the combine, what do you look for in a quarterback? And I said that tough, smart, accurate, athletic. I mean, go into the dictionary and you'll see Wilson there smiling with a big old smile because that's who he is. I mean, George hit on all of it. I mean, you're 100% right. Just his durability, his accuracy, deep balls. I mean, we're going to be throwing that thing down the field. And that's so exciting. It's so exciting for everybody. And it did take a lot of people. It took everybody in this building. Thank you for everybody. Thank you, because this is very exciting for the coaching staff, for the players, for the team, for all of us. And it's crazy because you talk about him on the field a lot, as a football player. But just the father he is, getting to know this family. I'm not gonna lie, I was very excited to meet his wife. Almost probably more excited, not gonna lie, but sorry, Russ.
Jim Irsay finally makes the list for this presser that almost makes as much sense as hiring no experience Jeff Saturday to coach the Colts.
We're the 4th winningest franchise in the league since 2000. That means in the upper quartile of winners, we're in the top quartile of that upper quartile. I'm glad he doesn't have any NFL experience, and he has tons of experience. I don't know how to make sausage. I don't know what goes into sausage, but I do know how to build a football team. And there was no other candidate. We were fortunate that he was available.
I'll be frank. I asked Mr. Irsay, tell me why I am a candidate you would consider in any role to do this.
You know, no one's perfect in this game. You know how many shots Michael Jordan's missed? I don't know what we would have done, if anything, if he wasn't available. And you guys can try to diminish him all you want, but that's just your words. They have no substance to it because there's no truth in it. And you guys missed one question for him, and he can't answer it since I'm answering. Have you talked to Peyton yet? Don't answer. Don't answer. Love to see it. Love to see it.
What do you think, guys?
This is a layup.
That's so good.
Speaking of Jordan missed shots.
Love to see it. Love to see it.
This is a layup, and it's because Jim Irsay, Chad, shocked everyone by selecting Jeff Saturday as the interim head coach and then doubled down. What you didn't hear is within that he said that the rest of the coaches in the NFL, they coach scared. And Jeff Saturday coming in not knowing about coaching in the league would actually benefit him because he's not going to be scared about having the job.
Listen, that Irsay, just the upper quartile of the upper quartile, the laughter, the weird joke about Peyton Manning, the whole thing is pretty perfect. Mike Francesa had a good rant. My one objection to it is he acts like everyone's a Yankees fan in the world that's watching that baseball game in the playoffs. Of course we all knew that the Yankees doubled their home runs. Not everyone knew that. So he is busting Bob Costas, which I like, because at times I find Bob Costas to be insufferable, but I think his material in doing so is lacking. And Nathaniel Hackett, first off, clean up that lav mic, bro, when you're brushing up against it the whole time. And second, that's just par for the course for that guy. I think this has got to be Irsay, Hutton. It's got to be Irsay's award to win.
I hope it is. Jimmy Irsay deserves this rant of the year for an interim head coach that is probably going to be their general manager. Who knows? Who's winning?
He earned this Chutton.
And the winner of the best rant of the year goes to Jim Irsay.
Yes.
You guys just keep hitting it right on the money.
Jimmy.
Whoever's voting on this award is really, really smart. That is the winner right there.
Can we add Shane Beamer for next year for his rant with Dow Loggins? Can that count? It's like a film that comes out just before the Academy Awards.
Have you guys heard of Michael Jordan?
Yeah, I don't know. Have
Bill
you talked
Parcells? Have you talked to these people?
Have you called Laquan Treadwell?
I mean, that was an incredible rant. But I think because, it's like the voting year for the Oscars. I think, December 1st maybe was the cutoff. So since that happened in December, we could have Shane Beamer eligible for next year's award. But for this year's next award, we send it back to Haley Carania.
All right, next up is the Keith Olberman Beta Award. It's named after, obviously, the biggest beta ever. He's the kind of guy who will trash his ex-girlfriend decades later, and the finalists of the Keith Olberman Beta Award are almost as bad. The finalists are Texas A&M Aggies head coach Jimbo Fisher, Alabama wide receiver Jermaine Burton, the NBA's resident crybaby LeBron James.
Chad, you have the honors because there is no other candidate that can possibly win than one.
Look, there was a story that we kept alive for a while because everyone else wanted to shut up about it, and that's because Nick Saban wanted everyone to shut up about it. Jermaine Burton did some sort of backhanded slap / pie face into the face of a young college woman for Tennessee on the way off the field as a big, strong, tall, fast wide receiver for the University of Alabama. And then Nick Saban defends it sort of by saying, it's really a scary situation when you're out there. You're scared of this small woman that's walking, minding her own business? You're really scared of that? Hutton, it's got to be, at least for me, the beta of the year has to go to Jermaine Burton of Alabama.
Yeah, but there were no acceptance speeches even prepared by Jimbo Fisher or LeBron James for this year's award.
They're going to be shocked. If they win, they're going to walk in here completely ill-prepared to deliver an acceptance speech.
Haley, who wins?
I can't even call this a winner, but the recipient of this year's Keith Olberman Beta Award is Jermaine Burton. Jermaine
so.
D-Bap, and you won't make the list next year. That's all we got to say.
I'm the only one that's going to get a standing ovation for that
I'm
award
with you.
But this is the type of award you give it away and no one's happy about it, but I will stand and applaud that decision by our committee.
Yes. Next up, a even better award.
Oh, bigger award for sure.
Yes, better than Keith Olberman.
Way better. Big shoes to fill here. Our next category is named in honor of beloved Mississippi State coach Mike Leach, who sadly passed away on December 13th of 2022 after he was hospitalized due to a heart condition. Let's take a look back at one of Mike Leach's most memorable moments.
First of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that. I'm going to say the Wildcat's out. The Trojan, does he have a horse or is he on foot? Does he have a bow and arrow or just his sword? The Bruin, definitely formidable. Another bear up there at Cal. The tree, I imagine that tree's going to get chopped down. Unless we're going to go with the bird and somebody might get pecked or something, I don't know. The duck might lose interest and just fly away and get out of there, which may be good advice under the circumstances. The husky, no chance. The beaver, well, we'll see how long that beaver can hold his breath. The ute, again, we're back to, is he on horseback? Does he have a bow and arrow? Did he trade for a rifle? I mean, because if that ute's got a rifle, there's some definite problems. You'd have to get one of those Harry Potter activists to read up on how you kill a Sun Devil, because there's a lot of outside stuff there. Just as far as a beast alone, a buffalo's going to be pretty hard to tangle with. I mean, a buffalo's utterly outstanding. Did I leave any of them out? The Coug will find a way. Clear-minded and crafty, a combination of stay out of harm's way and attack when you get your chances or your openings.
Obviously, Mike Leach, a hero, gone way too soon. So before we get to the finalists for this one, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about Leach's legacy and what this category means for you?
Chad, he's one of a kind, and he's also the end of an era because he's so difficult to replace in terms of someone in sports that will speak their mind to the level that Mike Leach did, no matter the setting. That's the key here. You could ask him a question at a halftime interview, post-game after a big win or loss, or at a press conference setting, and he's going to give you the same respect and a thoughtful answer, and it's going to be entertaining. No matter what he was talking about, I was listening. There's not many, and in fact, maybe one or two others total that I find that interesting right now in today's sports landscape.
And it may be that talk right there of all of his knowledge of Native Americans and animals and all the mascots and who would win in a fight that led me to request for Christmas to get his book on Geronimo. We had the co-author, Buddy Levy, on this show to talk about that. Read it in one day. It was that entertaining, that insightful from Mike Leach. Sort of sums the guy up. He's one of the greatest football minds of all time, and he could write a biography of Geronimo and make it entertaining where you read it in one day.
Yes. He's gone, not forgotten, and he's going to be missed, not for Haley, what he did, not just for what he did on the field as a coach, but for what he meant just in the media world, because he would answer literally anything you could toss his way.
All right, well, the finalists for this award are Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel, SNL funny man and womanizer Pete Davidson, and lastly, Tesla, SpaceX, and Twitter CEO Elon Musk.
Chad, I wrote a column this summer for OutKick on Mike McDaniel and how he's the most interesting guy because he's a he's a Yale history major.
Yep.
Turned head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Run game coordinator with Kyle Shanahan, has followed Kyle literally everywhere. He backs his way into the Miami job based on the lawsuit from Flores. Otherwise, we're probably talking Sean Payton. And now we're talking about Mike McDaniel because not just for the job he's done as a coach, but also he's the most similar to Leach right now because you can ask him anything and he's going to have a thought-provoking conversation. I'd love to sit down and have dinner with this dude.
Yeah, no disrespect to the other finalists here, but I feel like for this award, if Mike Leach is the namesake, we got to give it to the guy who's coaching football like Mike Leach.
Yep.
That very much is not in line with the standard talk of most football coaches from a personality standpoint, from how they deliver their message. Everything's a little bit different with Mike McDaniel in a good way. I hope he's the winner, but we go to Haley Carani to find out who is the winner.
Is this thing rigged? The winner of the Mike Leach Most Interesting Person of the Year award is Mike Daniel.
Yes. Yeah, and rightfully so. There is no way Pete Davidson is winning an award named after Mike Leach.
I mean, Pete Davidson's won enough awards. It's the girls he dates.
Yeah,
Those are the awards for him. I don't think he needs anything
else. Is
else.
Kim Kardashian an award?
Yeah, he's received enough in life. I mean, it's fine. We interviewed Pete Davidson back in the day.
He's a squatter.
Yeah. Remember how he talked about how he's like afraid of older white men who tell him to be funny, and that he was fearful of us during the interview, that he thought we were going to start yelling at him to be funny the whole time. Anyway, Pete Davidson, funny guy, but not our winner for this. Haley, I think we have one more award left. Is that correct?
That's correct. We have one more special award to announce, the OutKick Person of the Year. And the finalists for that award this year are the quarterback for the UT Vols, Hendon Hooker, MLB legend Pete Rose, and Bill Akins, the umpire who kicked Clay Travis out of a Little League game. Guys, the winner will join us in studio after the break. How exciting is that?
I'm very excited. I have no idea how Pete Rose is nominated for this award. I don't know what he did in the last year. We'll have to talk to the committee about that.
He answered his phone. He was on the show.
Yes, he came on the show, so we felt good about that with him.
He also placed
not
a
sure
first
that he's
bet,
not sure that he's done a lot. Hendon Hooker has published
he's great for this.
Christian children's books, and he single-handedly almost resurrected a proud football program into national prominence, and led one of the greatest games we've seen in recent college football history. And then you got a guy who had the audacity to throw Clay Travis out of his son's baseball game, which to me holds a special place in my heart. But now that I've laid all this out here, Hutton, and we found out that the winner is here with us, I'm sure after bashing Pete Rose, he's about to walk through that door, 2 moonshines in, and then surprise us all.
There's a card show somewhere
And
in
I'm
town.
going to be confronted by Pete Rose after bashing him.
So we have this coming up?
It's coming up.
That's next on OutKick 360.
Back to the Christian thing in the broad picture. Your father, how many kids, if you don't mind saying, do you have several kids? One kid?
Seven children.
You have 7 children, so you're a big family man. I did not know that.
Yes.
How many sons? Because this is what I kind of want to dig into.
I have 5 sons.
5 sons, perfect. As a Christian man, how do you feel, like, what is your job when it comes to raising young men in modern America?
Number one, to teach my boys to know and love Jesus. That would be their primary identity in life. To everything else being completely secondary to that. That is number one. Number 2 would be to make them capable men, right? To make them well-rounded, to make them, able to handle themselves, to make them strong physically, able to fight, able to shoot, able to protect their future, their own families. A great quote, Robert Heinlein, and I'm going to butcher it, but I will attempt it anyways. He basically says that a man should be able to plan an invasion, change a diaper, cook a meal, build a house. He just goes down this list of, you should be able to do all these things as a man. And then at the very end, he says specialization is for insects. And I did not always think that. All right. I mean, there was times in my life where I didn't care about learning how to weld or be mechanically inclined or any of these other things. I was like, oh, I just want to be a commando. I just want to go and shoot and do hard stuff. And that was a mistake. I mean, I think I've said this before on, I did 2 ship deployments, 2 ARG deployments as a young frogman. And honestly, I was arrogant at the time. And man, here you're on a ship, which was kind of miserable. And I had a bad attitude about it, instead of, because I'm like, I should be on land training more. And instead of going, okay, this is where I'm at. Yeah, I don't have to like it, but there's all these master machinists and welders and guys that are, in charge of charts and navigation, to navigate across the globe. And here I could have, if I would have showed just a little bit of interest, those guys would have been happy to be like, oh yeah, I'll teach you how to weld. I'll teach you how to run a lathe, all these things. That now I'm like, man, I want to learn all that stuff. I want to be able to do everything. and some of that's reinforced now. Kind of, we live out on a little bit of a farm, so you do need to be able to, when stuff breaks, you need to be able to fix it yourself, and so there's a lot of value in that. So I want, number one, I want my boys to know and love Jesus, and then number two, to be capable. It's actually, so we do a program called Father-Son Ministry, where it's gone through different iterations. Currently, the way we run it is you show up, we pray, we say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we start training. And that was very deliberate right there, that, hey, we honor God first, then we honor our nation, and then we start to train. Most of the time we do jiu-jitsu. So that's been just super cool, having the boys go from it just looking clownish, them rolling around, to, man, they're, some of those boys, I will actually, break a sweat rolling with them now, and they will absolutely catch some guys with triangles and arm bar. Like, they're actually learning jiu-jitsu.
The Chuttons continue on OutKick 360. Big thanks to Haley Carania. Crushed it with the categories and the presentation. Thankfully, she did not go full Ricky Gervais on us at the Golden Globes.
I didn't want to cry today, so I'm glad she didn't do that. I would hate to leave here in tears.
I may cry based on the in-studio guest. We have the OutKick Person of the Year. So, Chad, among the finalists,
I'm getting ready to do a drum roll.
Hendon Hooker.
Yep.
Pete Rose.
Yes.
And Bill Aikens, the umpire who tossed Clay Travis from a Little League baseball game. We've had all three on the show over the last 12 months. But there is only one man who can live up to Man of the Year, considering he threw out OutKick president Clay Travis from a Little League baseball game. Bill Aikens, the umpire, in studio with us.
The only winner
is the Man of the Year.
Bill, how does it feel to be both number one on the scorecard and number one in everyone's hearts?
Well, Chad, I told my son I wouldn't cry, and I'm just really, really trying to hold that in. But I have dreamed about this day since I was just a little boy. So it feels amazing.
Did you think, Bill, when you showed up at that Little League park on that fateful day, that you would commit an act that would win you OutKick Person of the Year by tossing Clay Travis? Or was it just an ordinary day?
Well, it wasn't just an ordinary day. There was something about the air. There was something about the feeling that day that I knew was going to be different and could change the trajectory of my life.
Yeah. So and that thing that was different was a millionaire hurling F-bombs at you.
Yes.
So congratulations, because that's what happened.
So let's reset, because Clay came in studio with us and with Bill earlier. Here's a photo of it, but we had both in to relive what happened the previous weekend, where Clay admitted that he got tossed and we found the umpire. Chad, you found Bill, and we had Bill in, and I mean, everyone's on your side here, Bill. But
I
Clay,
feel like I even just tweeted it out. I think Bill saw the tweet and got in touch. He was a listener and viewer of ours and knew Clay. So
let's give the 60-second recap of what happened here. This is early in the game, late in the game, and you knew Clay was behind you, right, if I remember correctly. And he makes the comment, "You have to be effing kidding me." I believe that's the quote.
It was kind of a question and a statement.
Yes. Yes.
At the same time.
Which sounds like Clay. That is a statement I've heard before.
Yep.
And
it tracked when we heard that.
Yeah, and Bill, you obviously heard it too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This hasn't kept me up as many nights as it probably did Clay, so my recollection is not probably as clear as his would be. But as I best can remember, it was earlier in the game, close game. I had no idea Clay was there.
At all?
No, I had no idea. Honestly, I didn't know until I heard it, turned around, and the only gentleman that was in the vicinity was Clay Travis.
But you knew it was
Clay, by the way, being a gentleman
around.
in quotations.
Okay.
He was surrounded by women, mostly family members, his mother, I think, included, and is just dropping F-bombs left and right towards Bill in this Little League game.
Have you thrown anyone else out since?
Probably.
Man, you do it so regularly, Bill, you just forget.
Every week.
It seems like a memorable moment when you toss someone from a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually more of a restriction. I think I had one other person this year that cussed that I had to actually remove. So,
was it a coach or a parent?
Or
a player?
That was
Okay.
That was a coach.
Assistant coach, I bet.
Absolutely.
So
Every
it doesn't
time.
matter.
Yep.
Every time.
Bill, I coach softball at the 7 and 8 year old level, and I will tell you, I will never curse at an umpire because I respect the work that you do. Not at this level. Now, when they get to 9 and 10, it's no holds barred. Who knows what's going to happen?
I understand. Hey, and I wouldn't expect anything else.
You've been a great sport about this. People are like, "Is he really coming in?" Clay's going to be like, "Yes," and it's going to be just fine. Just chill. It's going to be awesome. And the fact that you not only knew Clay, but you were a fan of OutKick made it even better. That's why you, sir, are the man of the year for OutKick in 2022. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. I did prepare a short acceptance speech, if you guys don't mind.
Go ahead.
We'll play you out.
Yeah, I was going to write it down, but I didn't. So, first of all, I just want to thank my wife. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have the opportunity every weekend to miss time with my family and go be with your family and get yelled at by the parents. Secondly, I'd like to thank the parents for taking it so seriously. I understand little Jimmy will be the next Derek Jeter, and so I appreciate that competitive spirit that you guys bring to the game and to Little League Baseball. Third, my umpire partner, Doug. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't show up week after week to do this. And last, but certainly not least, right, Clay Travis. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind I would not be sitting here today to accept this Chutton if it wasn't for Clay Travis. So thank you, Clay. Thank you.
The man of the year. And to Doug.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
That's
here
right.
I am.
To Doug.
After that
Bill, to
acceptance
you.
speech.
Thank you, sir.
Bill, cheers, brother.
Yeah, cheers. Cheers to the
Hey,
weekend.
have a great 2023.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
To the Chuttons as well.
I pray that you throw out another media mogul this year also. That's my wish for you, Bill.